Last season, we brought you a story about how the dam on Roaring River in Jackson County was being removed to help bring different species of fish and animals into the area. This season, we take a trip down the river to see how the landscape has changed along the banks of the scenic Roaring River.
Down at the dam removal earlier in the year, you and I talked about some of the benefits for having that area open back up, and we talked about opening up fish passage and passage for other animals that live in the river. But you know, we're looking at opening up this river so that things like white bass and smallmouth bass can move up and down the river. Those are species that will have seasonal movements, species that people fish for, and should notice a difference over time in those species to move farther upriver. There are also a group of fish called red horse, and we typically see them congregate below the dam in the early spring, late winter. And they're trying to get upriver to places like this that we're looking at, shoals and areas for spawning. When we've done surveys through the winter and early spring down where the dam used to be, we would see all those species kind of stacked up, ready to go upriver. So this coming year, when we get some spring rains and late winter, early spring, we get those big rains, we should see some of those fish up in these areas. And the red horse can be particularly impressive on their spawning runs because you can have thousands of fish up on a shoal like this trying to spawn, and it's kind of a really neat thing to witness. We've just kind of gotten to the point where the influence of the dam reached. We're about a mile from the site where the dam was located. Didn't see a big difference up here. The water dropped a little bit. You know, there was a lot of concern locally about whether this particular area would just be dried up. People were very concerned about it, and we had a pretty good idea that wasn't going to happen. It was nice to see. We had just a very slight change of depth up here. So the people living on the river didn't notice, you know, that much of a difference. The biggest difference that we'll see is when we get closer to the dam, we'll see those riffles and shoals that have formed, and it was got a lot of positive feedback from people once they realized that we weren't going to dry them up here. As we get farther downriver into the area that was impounded by the dam, we're going to see some new riffles and shoals, new runs established, things that were just still water, places that were just still water before the dam was removed. And that's kind of another aspect of the dam removal project, is that you actually gain habitat. You don't necessarily get an opportunity in this day and age to gain new aquatic habitat, and you know, it wasn't miles and miles of river, but it did create some nice riffles and shoals and change that particular area in what we view as a positive way. When the dam was in place, the section that we're floating through now would have been mostly still water, very little current, and as you can see what we're going through here, we've got nice currents, and it's pretty neat to see how the habitat changed. The place where we put the boat in at the Boyles is one of those places in local communities that people have been coming to for years. It was privately owned. And when our agency had the opportunity to buy it, we purchased it, secured it in public land, and with our wildlife management areas, they're open to the public. During the during the hunting seasons. You know, our licensed hunters are out here hunting, and I wouldn't encourage people to get out and roam the woods during hunting season. But outside of those hunting seasons, you can come enjoy these areas. You don't have to have a hunting and fishing license to come sit on that gravel bar and swim. But yeah, it's there for folks to just come and enjoy, and enjoy a state scenic river.